All right. Now let's continue about Apex testing. Right now we are going to do a unit test example. Test the temperature converter class. So basically what we are going to do is we are going to create one simple class. Okay? What is this class for? It's a simple class. It's a public class. It means you can access this class from anywhere in the same Salesforce org, from other classes, right? You can access this from your developer, your anonymous window, and so on. So it's a public class, and the class name is temperature converter. It has a method. This is the method name, which is a public method. It's also static, and it returns a decimal data type. It accepts one input parameter which is a decimal, and we name this FH, the variable name, which stands for what? Fahrenheit. We learned this in elementary school, right? On how to convert between Celsius to Fahrenheit to Kelvin and so forth in physics. I think I learned this either in elementary or in middle school. If you've gone through middle school, you probably know how to convert Celsius, Kelvin, and Fahrenheit for temperature. Okay, so this basic method is to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. And this is the formula that every middle schooler should know. To convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius, you use this, the Fahrenheit degree minus 32, and then you multiply and use 5 per 9, however you want to say it, okay? Because I don't go to an English speaking school, so I don't know how you say it in your language. Anyways, so you return the CS variable, and you set the scale for the decimal point to 2. Okay, so basically let's create this class. I am going to copy this class and go ahead to my playground. I'm going to launch my playground here and then open my developer console. Okay, click on your gear icon there and developer console. So this is from our previous videos. I am going to close this and close that. Now we are going to make a new what? A new class. File, new Apex class. File, new Apex class here. And the name of the class would be, if I flip back to my trail, temperature converter, right? That's the name of the class. Hit OK. So public class temperature converter, and then I'm just going to copy this whole code here. Copy and paste, and then saves. Okay. So basically it takes an input of the Fahrenheit in decimal and convert it to Celsius. For example, if you go to Google 100 Fahrenheit to Celsius, you can Google that as well. So what our function do is this, is convert. So if you put 100 Fahrenheit equals 37 degrees. If you put 212 Fahrenheit, it equals 100 degrees Celsius. So if I type current Langley weather, it's 6 degrees Celsius, right? So if I put this to 6, it's actually 42.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is what our function is doing, is converting from Fahrenheit to Celsius. We have created this class and we have saved the class. Now we want to test this class or create a test unit. Okay, let's do that together. So flip back to our Trailhead here. Now, repeat the previous steps to create the temperature converter test. Okay, temperature converter test class. So I'm going to copy that and make a new class, file, new, Apex class, temperature converter test. Hit OK. Boom. I'm going to flip back and copy the rest of the code and explain it to you. Command A, boom. So let me scroll this down a bit. We have a task class, which is being denoted by @is_task. So this whole class here is a task class. And on each method, you say @is_task. And you don't even have to do this, because if you put here, you can even delete this on each method, because the whole thing is a task method. All right, but let's go with the example. So it's a private class, temperature converter test. Okay, test. So we have a static method. Is the static void test warm temp. Okay, and on this method, is a static method. We are going to just do a conversion. So temperature converter is the name of the class. See this temperature converter, and then dot method. The method name is here. The method name Fahrenheit to Celsius. Basically, you call the class and do its method and pass 70 degrees Fahrenheit, right? 70 degrees Fahrenheit. How much Celsius is that? Is it 21.11? So if I flip back to my Google, I forgot the number already. 70, right? 70 Fahrenheit. So 21.1. So if I input 70 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm testing this. I input 70 degrees Fahrenheit, right? And it's doing the whole method, this whole method here, which is calling this chunk of code. So this two line will execute. It will do the formula and it will return this. Okay, it will return this. And the returned value have to match 21.11, which is the correct value if we check from Google temperature converter here, 21.11. Okay, so you do assertion system.assert equals, it has to be 21.11. So you create a new variable, which is a decimal data type, and this equals the whole class method, pass 70 degrees as parameter. It should return 21.11. If it does, done. Your assertion equals true or check. It's good. This task passed. Okay. So we are basically doing an assertion of any kind of possibilities that can happen with our class here. All right. So the second test. So you actually made up all these tests in your head. You can think of a story or a scenario how this class will be used in a real world scenario. If then this class is being passed 32 degrees, what is the value should be? It should be 0, right? Which is, if I put 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it should be 0 Celsius. So that's our test. If I put 32 degrees into this method, if I put 32 degrees, the return, which is this, the result of this calculation has to be 0. That is the correct answer. Is this correct? Is the Celsius equals 0? Is this Celsius, which is this, equals 0? If it's yes, well, the second test passed, right? So you move on and you create more tests, basically the same thing, but this is, if you pass 100, will it, no. If you pass 212, will it become 100, right? So if you pass 212, will it become 100? It should become 100. If it's not 100, then the test failed. So this should return 100, right? If it doesn't return, you pass a failure message, which you say, oh, boiling point temperature is not expected. This is the failed message that will be passed to your debug, okay? So another test, if this is passed -10, do a weird number. -10, it should result -23.33. Let's do that. If I do -10 degree, -23.33 degree, which is the expected value. So if I pass -10 degree to this method, it should return this. So if this is all true, means our tests has passed and our class is good to go. I'm going to save this. Make sure the star is gone, no more star, so you're good, or it's safe. Okay, if there's still a star hanging there, it's not saved yet. All right, let's go back to our trail. So we've discussed all this, what is all doing. All right, now we're actually going to run the test. So in the developer console, click test, new run, and then you run this. Or you can basically click a button, okay? So if I flip here, you can just click run test here, right? So whenever there is an is test on your class, this run test button will appear. Basically, you just click that rather than going test, new test, or new run, right? New run, and then you choose your class, this one, and then you choose, well, at least here you can choose what test to run, right? Did they show that? And then click add selected. Oh yeah, here you can actually select the methods. Well, yeah, you can select the methods here, but if you click here, it's just going to run everything. All the methods is going to be run. Here you can be more picky. You can be more selective. What method? This is a method, right? This is a method, a method, a method, a method. So with the test run or new run, here you can be picky which one to test, okay? So you can hit run, or if you do this, it will just run all the methods. So I'm just gonna hit run here. Boom! Running test, and then you want to see the result. Whoa, what happened to my test? How is it going? So you click on the test tabs here, tests, right? Boom. Green is good. So green means all your tests has passed. So you can click there and see all the methods has passed. All right. And you can see the code coverage here. So your code coverage, these actual tests are testing the temperature converter.apxc, right? So temperature converter.apxc. Oh, what happened? It keep bouncing there. Temperature converter at the bottom. I'm just gonna flip this and sort the other way around. There. Temperature converter is 100%. Lines 3 out of 3 lines is all executed. So these tests we perform executed all 3 lines. Line 1, line 2, and line 3. All 3 lines are executed, means 100% is covered, okay? Which is perfect. So that is how you run a test, all right? So let's see. This is about code coverage. Note, whenever you modify your Apex code, rerun your test to refresh code coverage results, of course. If you modify this code at all and you add blah or something, you have to rerun the test to see what's your code coverage now. Okay, make sure it's 100%, at least it's above 75%. Okay, let's see what else can we discuss here. Oh yeah, here, the next part, the temperature converter test class doesn't cover invalid inputs or boundary conditions. Boundary conditions are about minimum and maximum values. In this case, the temperature conversion method accepts decimal, which can accept large numbers higher than double values. For invalid, what about people just entering weird values, right? There is no invalid temperature, but only invalid input is null. How does the conversion method handle this value? In this case, when the Apex runtime dereferences the parameter variable to evaluate the formula, it throws system.null pointer exception. You can modify the Fahrenheit to Celsius method to check for invalid input. Always check invalid input. Okay, that's a good practice. And return null in that case. Alright? So, we can do that. So, let's copy this part here, which actually are, so we are not actually testing this invalid input, okay? So, let's see, for example, let's modify the boiling point temperature test and pass in a false expected value for the boiling point Celsius temperature 0 instead of 100. This causes the corresponding test method to fail. Basically, if you put 212 here, test boiling point, and then you say it has to be 0, right? Well, that's wrong. It has to be 100, right? Because 212 degrees Fahrenheit equals 100, right? So if you just want to see how it's gonna go, if it's wrong, if the assertion is wrong, so you just basically modify this test method here, which will break it, and it will say the test didn't pass. Basically, you just change this to 0 instead of 100. So I'm going to save this. Star is going to be gone in a few seconds while we take a break. Okay, now it's safe. Now 0. Now if I run the test this way by clicking this run test, which is going to run the whole methods anyways, see, it is failing. See this X button? This is the old test. Now it failed. Oh why it failed? This part, test boiling point, failed because it's supposed to be 100, right? So Celsius is not equal 0. Assertion fail. And then it's going to say boiling point temperature is not expected. So if I open up the debug or the logs here, see the status here, assertion failed, boiling point temperature is not expected, expected 0, actual is 100, because we are doing this purposefully. We want to see how it's going to show us if something fails. This is how it's going to show you when it fails. Okay, so now back to our trail. Yeah, we've talked about that. We have expanded here, right? Yeah, you can also click on that test here. If you click here, you double click, same thing. It's basically showing the error log, right? There. Okay, that will do that. And then, okay, so I think we've done pretty far. It's more than 15 minutes maybe. And I'm going to cut this video so it's not going to be too long. And we are going to talk about increasing your code coverage in the next video. Okay, so feel free to replay this video on how you can do testing. And I'll see you in the next video where we talk about increasing your code coverage in your Apex test codes. Boom! Hit that subscribe button and explore new Trailhead grounds and learn to implement the most useful and popular apps on the Salesforce App Exchange. And do yourself a favor, like this video, and you'll be surprised on how much more you understand when watching this same video after liking it. Don't take my word. Watch this one more time after you like the video and see it for yourself. Bada bing, bada boom.